First of all, I'd like to thank everybody that came out this morning to support the Tigers. I'd like to apologize for the way we played in the first half. It's absolutely unacceptable. I'd like to congratulate SMU in the way they came out, prepared, and played, and outplayed us. Well, I don't know. They played well on defense. They had 2 weeks to prepare for us, but that's certainly not an excuse. They just came out and played better than we did on both sides of the ball. I thought our special teams did a heck of a job. I don't know. We'll look at the film, and we've got a little bit of a long week here, and we'll evaluate everything and see where we're at.
Scheme-wise, was it what you expected from their offense? And I'm talking more first half as well.
Pretty much. Those guys kind of are what they are on both sides of the ball. But they're good at it. They're good at what they do. So it's quite a chore to handle them on either side, unless you're just that much better than they are, which obviously we're not. So, by and large, I'd say it's about what we expected. Now, there's always a couple new things whenever you've got a little bit extra time to prepare.
Offense just isn't putting up enough points. I mean, whether it's Houston or this game or whatever. What's your sense of what's happening on the offensive side?
Well, my sense is it's a combination of several things. My sense is it's a developing offensive line. It's some young skill players, receivers and running backs that show flashes of playing really well and flashes of make you want to pull your hair out. And even some of those guys that aren't young via grade, they may be juniors or sophomores, they're new at least. All of that has combined to flashes of playing really well and flashes of playing pretty poorly. Not good enough at anything just to dominate throwing it or running it. It's not like you can just line up and cram it down their throat right now and then throw a post every 5 plays. It's just when you get a little bit behind the chains, we're having a hard time making up for that. If we're perfect, we're pretty good, but one little hiccup we're having a hard time overcoming. That was a long answer, but that's how I feel about it right now.
In terms of the play calling, a lot of short passes. Is that for protection issues or?
Yeah, I don't feel real good about holding on to it very long right now. I just, we tried to push the ball down the field several times today and got flushed out of the pocket. So nobody. Yes.
And then the last question, because people will ask this with Jacob Karen. Do you ever think about just for a spark throw it?
Well, yeah, sure. I think about everything when it comes to both sides of the ball and special teams. So, everything is given due consideration. We have things that we're working on, at every position. And, that's the nature of the beast, and I understand it as the head coach and as a guy that used to play that position. And our kids that are in those positions need to understand it too. That's the way it is going in. So, that spot gets an undue amount of praise and criticism. And I'm just telling you, we have plenty of issues that we're working through right now on that side of the ball. And we are evaluating everything on a daily basis.
You talked about the offensive line and you don't feel like maybe getting enough protection. At the end of the game, I don't know if it's just what SMU is doing, allowing you to get chunks, but when you spread it up, it seemed like you guys were.
Well, they're just in base defense standing still. I mean, that's not a great indicator of, they just, it's not that they aren't playing defense. It's they're just keeping everything in front of them, rushing 3, and I don't know that that's the. We did get something going there, but there was pretty vanilla looks from SMU.
Could you give an explanation on that fumble that got forced, and it was one of the more horrendous things I've seen?
Seems to be going that way for us. Yes, I did, and there's really no arguing it. I mean, he felt like his forward momentum was done, and that he blew him dead. And it's not challengeable. It's not, you can't even get upset about it just because they can't go back and look at it. It doesn't matter. That's what they saw. So, you just kind of look at the guy and say, okay, there's a lot of people here watching this game that probably don't agree with that. But, those guys, and I'll say this, those guys, they got a tough job. And we've got to earn the right to get the 50-50 calls and earn that portion of respect.
Maybe disappointed somewhat with the receivers today, as you ran those receiver screens on the outside. You got to get blocking, obviously, to make it work, and it just didn't seem like the blocking.
Well, we hit a couple of them, and then we turned the corner loose. The one right after the block punt was really poor execution. And and what's really crazy is I was disappointed in our perimeter game on both sides, and I felt like going in, it was an advantage. Defensively, we've been outstanding in the perimeter game. We've made it a huge emphasis from last spring, actually halfway through last season, on both sides of the ball. And I felt like, I may be biased, but I felt like the first half of this year and the last half of last year, that we dominated the perimeter game. All the little wide receiver screens on defense, we dominated, we tackled it, got it down, and on offense, when we did it, we were pretty good at it. And I did not feel that way today. I felt like they did a pretty good job. Eventually, we got it stopped defensively. And offensively, kind of got in a situation where we were a little bit taken out of that. But, we hit a couple of them. Sam had one that went for 10 or 12 or 13 yards. But the one that sticks out in my mind is the one right after the block punt. We block a punt, we go run a perimeter screen into a pretty good look, and we look, the blocker looks inside instead of outside, and it's, poor execution.
Did you feel any of the air going out of the balloon on that series? So you blocked the punt, you set up on their...
Well, yeah, I felt like, God, guys, we block a punt, everybody's excited, and we don't move the ball, we don't execute on first down. I can't remember what happened the next two downs, but then we missed a field goal. And, but we got to be tougher than that, You're going to face adversity, and things are not always going to go your way, but, we got to be able to bounce back. And it was like, their credit, they made a stop and got off the field, but, we got to be able to fight through that, those things are tough. You're right, but, so's life, and you got to keep battling.
How about the spark you got on defense in the second half, what Ryan Coleman did, and then also on the along the about?
Yeah, I was proud of Ryan. He's been a really good addition for us, just as a team and a worker, and he made a couple extraordinary plays today, and obviously gave us spark, and then a big spark, and then Regis with the interception and running it all the way back, and then jumping in the end zone. And, we're obviously huge plays to close the gap there. Huge momentum plays.
What do you think of that rule, by the way?
I think it's a good rule. I do. I really do.
It'll stop them from diving next time, won't it?
Yep.
All the running?
Either that will or I will. But I really do think it's a good rule. It's one thing if you're diving to keep from getting tackled or whatever, but I'm not a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of team celebration. I'm a big fan of playing with emotion and playing with your guys out there on the field. And I'm not a big fan of any form of individualism out there. So I'm probably biased, but that's the way I feel.
What did you say to him afterwards?
Well, most of that's between me and the team. I'll tell you the good part that I said, it was kind of in two parts. Obviously, I didn't like the way we started the football game, and we addressed some things there that I felt like led to that. And then I told them, but they did battle their tails off in the second half. And I felt like at halftime that maybe this was the most important 2 quarters of our program coming up because things had not gone well, obviously, the first half. And, told them exactly how I expected them to perform and with what type of intensity and competitive nature and what I expected them to represent. And I felt like they did do that. But, so there it was. There was part of it was admonishment and part of it was, good job responding in the second half.